draw people into the kirtan because it was very emotional, very from the heart. And he was more concerned with the bhava, or the calling out the names of Krishna, more so than anything. But of course, this excellent musician as well, very creative, very fiery, also very soft, but he could explode in a moment in a nice way, very dynamic. But he had that wish to broadcast the holy name all over the world, even back in the 90s when the social media, internet thing was not at all popular. We didn't even have cell phones back then. And the landlines we did have, the monkeys would break daily. So we had no communication with cell phones and world communication, maybe sent some postal messages here and there. But he kept cultivating this desire to spread the holy name all over the world. He wanted to see that, so he started making CDs, or not CDs, cassettes back then, I think. Yeah, making cassettes. And the flavor was very beautiful. Whatever temple you would go to anywhere in the world, you'd be playing Vrindavan mellows. So it affected the lives of so many, and it just reminds me of the importance of the holy name. And this is what Aindra Prabhu contributed, something very wonderful. Srila Prabhupada gave the order, have a 24-hour kirtan, especially here in Vrindavan, because it's the most important place in the universe. Krishna Balaram Mandir ki. So we have good social media now, with website, and we have a lot of enthusiastic kirtaniyas, and these are all branches of Aindra Prabhu's desire to spread the holy name. I remember when I took up service again here in Vrindavan, 2009. I came back, I think it was 2010, in the summer, and I was actually scheduled to give the class, and I got the phone call at 7:10 that up in the ashram's a problem. And so Aindra Prabhu was there, and he left in Vrindavan, holding the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya. So this is Tiro Baba, very auspicious day, and it seemed as though not even on that day did the 24-hour kirtan not perform. Not perform, but I mean do the yajna, the sacrifice. So the sacrifice kept going on. I believe Gopal came back, right? And we continue the tradition of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan mission. And I feel this is the most important aspect, that we keep in the forefront the chanting of the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, absorbing our minds, ourselves reading, chanting, encouraging others to read and chant, and also participate in the kirtan. Because all the problems and challenges, there's plenty of problems and challenges in every community, with so many responsibilities, people from all over the world, family, wife, husband, children, school, protection, guidance, keeping everyone enlivened in spiritual life and on the proper path as Srila Prabhupada wanted us to have. So today is a very special, glorious day. If we can remember the holy name and remember the enthusiasm and serious determination that was exhibited by our Aindra Prabhu, following the footsteps of Mahajano Jainagata Pasapanta. So be enthusiastic to serve the deities and serve the holy name. Aindra Prabhu ki.
Hare Krishna. Anybody who comes to speak here, he has to start with Hare Krishna. That is only the glories of Aindra Prabhu. Yeah, so I am the worst person to sing. And Aindra Prabhu said, you have bad ears. He used to tell me, you have bad ears. It means you don't understand the music. And I think Panchagoda, you remember I was chanting Radha Madhava and you are Mridanga was, I am not able to go along with your beat, remember? So he used to tell me, early days, he used to tell me, you have bad ears. But we have a good ears with him. Though I have bad ears, but I have good ears with him. And 93, first time came, I went to his room with Pundrik Vidyanidhi and Mahanidhi Maharaj. And he has cooked something which only he can eat. Yeah, it is something which only he can eat. And then he offered that to all who were there. And then at that time he gave me the book Govind Leela Amrit. Govind Leela Amrit, how many know? How many know this book? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj wanted to translate this and print this book, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur said no. He went again next time that I want to print this book. Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, okay, then you can print one copy for yourself. So how confidential is Govind Leela Amrit? And he has a photocopy of the original book. And he gave me this book. He said, this is what, if you have to stay in Vrindavan, you have to read this. I mean, I am saying 93, at Prabhupada said 93 came, I came again in this management by 95, something, we were together at that time. So what I am saying is Govinda Leela Amrita, people don't know the name of the book, and it is the book written by Kaviraj Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Those who are taking sannyas ISKCON as a rule, they must not have any bank account, right? This is the rule, Maharaj, right? No, Maharaj is here, it's the rule. No property in their name, no bank account. This is the standard for the sannyasi. So somebody gave one check of 7,000 rupees to Aindra Prabhu in sometime 95-6. He came to me, said, Obama, you have some account? I have to deposit this check and you can give me money? I said, yes, Prabhu, I have one account. So I deposited money in my account and gave him money. So what I want to tell that he was not keeping any account for himself. So he was not officially sannyasi as a dandawala, but he was completely vairagi. There are two words, sannyas and vairag. In Vaishnava the word is used vairagi. And the meaning of the vairagi is, one is detachment, which is not true meaning of vairagi. True meaning of vairagi is vishesha raga. V means vishesh. Vishesh means special. Rag means attachment. One who has a special attachment to Krishna. I think once George Harrison asked Srila Prabhupada, I have seen so many people all over the India, the spiritual, but who is really a bona fide spiritual master? And Srila Prabhupada answered, one who is addicted to Krishna. Not attached to. Addicted to Krishna. Addiction is not good because you cannot live without that. But addiction to Krishna. So our Aindra Prabhu was addicted to Radha Shyam Sundar. He was addicted to, actually. It's not attachment or something. He was addicted. He was akinchan. This is how the sadhu should live. Once a month you have to shave everything, your beard, everything. Don't wear any stitch cloth. He never wore any stitch cloth. All the years he was here. And he was always following these rules, which are actually the rules for the Kartik month and for the Vairagi to live. You see, all the Vaishnava sadhu Vairagi, either big beard or they have nothing, but they do like that. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to be gentlemen, so we follow, we shave every day because we have to go. But he has to stay in Vrindavan and chant holy name. He has nothing to show to the people that how beautiful I am, nothing to do. If Krishna, and his particular bhav which he has, which was not digested by most of the people who were at the sadhana bhakti level. And he was doing something which, according to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we should practice according to the sadhana bhakti in a public, but individually we can also meditate in our own bhav about the Radha Krishna. So somehow at one time his department was controversial. So in a management they made me in charge of the 24-hour Kirtan department from our Vrindavan management team. Because they thought that, well, I am the person who is like a grease in a machine which can go along with every, it's not that I am hard and hard line or something. So they said, so Aindra Prabhu said, so what I have to do? I said, do as you like, because you are chanting Hare Krishna, that is only the main important thing in Krishna consciousness. Rest all will go with time. So, well, as wonderfully he said, he never wanted to go from here, maybe going once a while in Mayapur, that's all. And Giriraj Maharaj, after his Tirobhav, said, well, we never thought that he is so much in the heart of the devotees all over the world. People are loving him all over the world. He has never initiated anybody officially, but hundreds and thousands of people, they are keeping his photo and accepting him as really the guru for holy name. Even in Russia, when I'm traveling there, almost everywhere I see they are also very much attached and addicted to Aindra Prabhu. His kirtans are unique, and once our Dadu was here in last days, later Dadu we used to call, and Vibhu Chaitanya, and then he was chanting 4 hours continuously Hare Krishna. Then he chanted 8 hours and he said, well, after many years, today I got back to 8 hours chanting. I used to chant 8 hours in New York and when I was in West. But here we have 2 hours turn. But I today he chanted 8 hours continuously for that departed soul. So we have a big loss of actually, before time he left, but the best people are needed by the Bhagavan. So he needs some other planet where 20-hour kirtan is needed. So he is now doing 20-hour kirtan some other planet. But his memory is with this temple forever. Shri Aindra Prabhu ki! Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyanangana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guru Namah. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Kirtan Chandra Namanandi Aindra Prabhu ki. He was the Kirtan Chandra. I miss so much that angelic face sitting there in the back of the temple. He was just like an angel, chanting the holy name of Krishna. Just like a moon. So Kirtan Chandra. Namanandi. Nobody in ISKCON has relished the holy name as much as Aindra Prabhu. In the very beginning of Krishna Balaram Mandir, Prabhupada wanted a 24-hour kirtan. In fact, he told this kirtan is the real installation. He got some local Brahmins so that people would accept that our deities were bona fide. And they did a wonderful ceremony. But Prabhupada said the real installation is this chanting of the holy name. So we had different yatras take different turns, different times of the day. When all the devotees left, it wasn't, the old days there was hardly anybody here. It gradually died out. But 86, 85? 86. Aindra Prabhu came, his original idea was to travel around India in a van, just like he had in New York. He had this special traveling temple. But he realized no one was fulfilling the desire of Srila Prabhupada that we should have 24-hour kirtan in Krishna Balaram Mandir. And he sat for almost a quarter of a century chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And it is still going on today. We are so indebted to Kirtan Chandra Namanandi Aindra Prabhu for starting this 24-hour kirtan and showing us how to relish the holy name of Krishna. It's one of the features of Krishna Balaram Temple. Some young girls told me one time, we were in another city, they said, we go to a certain brand new temple here, but nothing going on there. But we come to Krishna Balaram Mandir, chanting is going on, artik is going on, bhog offering is going on. We love to sit with a chanting party and chant. So we're so indebted to Aindra Prabhu for starting this 24-hour kirtan. I miss him so much. He was always just like a little angel chanting there with all the devotees. And since he left, even more devotees have come. Aindra Prabhu was sending them. Sending people, and this kirtan is still going. After a quarter of a century of chanting, he's sending devotees to chant. So we continue this 24-hour kirtan, one of the glories of Krishna Balaram Mandir. So we thank him very much for this wonderful service. Sitting there day and night organizing this 24-hour kirtan. We're so indebted to him. Sripad Kirtan Chandra Namanandi Aindra Prabhu ki.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So I understand all of you, if not all of you, most of you understand Hindi. So I decided to speak in Hindi. Other reason besides that part, I am not very much fluent speaking English. So I beg your permission. I am going to speak in Hindi. Okay? At least you can guess I am speaking the local language, Brajbhasha, Bhasha of Brajbasi, language of Brajbasi. You may not understand, but by action you can understand what I am speaking about. तो बहुत से भक्त स्पीकर लोग बताए हैं आइंद्र प्रभु के गुणों के विषय में। सबसे बड़ा उनका हमारे संस्था के लिए, संस्कार के लिए योगदान है, कंट्रीब्यूशन है। यह 24 घंटा कीर्तन, 24 आवर्स कीर्तन, और इसका इतना भारी प्रभाव है अब संस्था में। जैसे बता रहे थे सार्वभौम प्रभु, आइंद्र प्रभु ने ऐसे फॉर्मल इनिशिएशन तो नहीं ही दिया, उस दृष्टिकोण से जो हमारा स्टैंडर्ड से गुरु नहीं थे। लेकिन विश्व के किसी भी कोने में हम जाते हैं, कोई भी जाता है, कोई भी व्यक्ति यदि यहाँ कृष्णवर्णा मंदिर की यात्रा किया है तो बहुत चीज़ से इम्प्रेस करने की बातें हैं, लेकिन सबसे ज़्यादा प्रभावित कुछ लोग होते हैं, विशेषकर जो स्पिरिचुअलिस्ट होते हैं, जो साधना कर भक्ति करना चाहते हैं, तो सबसे ज़्यादा यदि किसी एक बात से प्रभावित होते हैं तो 24 घंटे का जो कीर्तन होता है। और यह भी जानते हैं भगवान चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने यही प्रोसेस रिकमेंड, तार मध्य सर्वश्रेष्ठ नाम संकीर्तन। प्रहलाद महाराज ने, रूप गोस्वामी ने तो 64 लिम्स ऑफ डिवोशनल सर्विस कह दिया। प्रहलाद महाराज टॉकिंग 9 प्रोसेस ऑफ डिवोशनल सर्विस। लेकिन चैतन्य महाप्रभु कहते हैं तार मध्य सर्वश्रेष्ठ आप लोग पूरा कीजिए। तो आचार्य हैं आइंद्र प्रभु, ये तो कीर्तन का। इसके अतिरिक्त मेरा जहाँ रेसिडेंस है, जय महा रहता हूँ, उसी फ्लोर पर कभी भी आइंद्र प्रभु को जाना होता था तो उससे दूसरा कोई रास्ता ही नहीं था, हमारे दरवाजे के सामने से ही जाना पड़ता था। तो उनके अनेक गुण हैं, हम जिससे विशेष रूप से उनसे प्रभावित होते थे उसकी चर्चा कर ही चुके हैं। एक तो उनका जो ड्रेस था, जैसे कन्वेंशनल रूप से हम लोगों के संस्था में वह रिकमेंडेड नहीं था, और एटलीस्ट अप्रिसिएशन नहीं था। लेकिन पता नहीं किसी कारण से मेरा भी मन मिलता जुलता था, और विशेषकर राधा कुंड का जो तिलक होता था, तिलक लगाने का अभी मैं भी थोड़ा मिक्स जो करता हूँ। तो यह प्रेरणा, क्योंकि आइंद्र प्रभु का ब्रजवासियों के प्रति, ब्रज के कल्चर के प्रति, यहाँ के जो साधु महात्मा लोग राधा कुंड में चाहे एकांतिक रूप से भजन करते, उनके प्रति उनके हृदय में इतनी भारी निष्ठा थी, इतना भारी प्रेम था। और वह इस कारण से, जिससे हम लोग भक्ति के अनेक आयामों की वर्णन करते हैं, रागानुगा भक्ति, तो सार्वभौम प्रभु नाम बदल दिए हैं, रागात्मिका भक्ति को कहते हैं, क्षमा कीजिएगा, सार्वभौम प्रभु। तो उस दृष्टिकोण से, और कभी कभी हमको संयोग मिलता था जब थे तो उनके रूम में जाने का, बैठने का, तो चर्चा वही होती थी जिसका सार्वभौम ने चर्चा किया, सेवा साधक रूपेण सिद्ध रूपेण छात्र ही तद भाव लिप्सुना कुर्यात ब्रजलोकानुसार था। सेवा साधक रूपेण, साधक रूप जैसा है, ब्रह्मचारी है तो धोती पहनेगा, कुर्ता पहनेगा, सन्यासी है तो लुंगी पहनेगा, ब्रह्मचारी है तो सफरन पहनेगा, गृहस्थ है तो सफ़ेद कपड़ा पहनेगा, तो व्यवहार होगा। तो उस रूप में हमें भगवान की सेवा करनी है, करना ही चाहिए। लेकिन आइंद्र प्रभु का कंट्रीब्यूशन है, योगदान है, सेवा सिद्ध रूपेण छात्र ही, अपना जो सहज स्वरूप है, हम भगवान की लीला में कुछ हैं, प्रत्येक जीव का उसमें सर्टेन रूप है, तो सेवा साधक रूप में सिद्ध रूपेण छात्र ही, तो वह जो हमारा जो नित्य सिद्ध अधिकार, नित्य सिद्ध कृष्ण प्रेम साध्य को उस स्थिति पर जाने, तो उस स्थिति को यदि रागानुगा भक्ति को कोई प्राप्त करना चाहता है, यह चाहता है कि कृष्ण के चरणों में हमारा सहज स्पॉन्टेनियस अट्रैक्शन हो जाए, कृष्ण के प्रति हमारा अफिनिटी, सौहार्द, ममत्व बढ़ जाए। तो इस विषय में आइंद्र प्रभु से हमें पर्सनली रूप से बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला था। बातचीत करने में गोविंद लीलामृत के कुछ चैप्टर हम पढ़ते भी थे, कभी कभी, हमेशा तो नहीं, कभी कभी पढ़ने का। और एक और इच्छा थी, अब पता नहीं अभी उत्साह है कि नहीं, आइंद्र प्रभु के रूम में एक पात्र था, अभी है कि नहीं, मिट्टी का पात्र होता, लोटा होता है, जिसे ऐसे पूर्व के आचार्य रूप सनातन गोस्वामी ग्रहण करते थे। लोटा होता है, उसका करुआ नाम है, लोटा होता है अपने ढंग का। तो वैसा इच्छा बड़ी रहती थी, और उनके पास था भी, जब तक जिस दिन डिसअपियरेंस हुआ उस दिन तक हमारा साथ रहा, उस प्रीवियस रात्रि तक। और बहुत इच्छा थी कि हमारे पास भी मैं भी एक ऐसा रखता, और उनके तिरोभाव के बाद इच्छा होती थी कि वही हमको मिल जाता है, उसको इनहेरिट मैं करता तो अच्छा हुआ था, लेकिन भगवान की क्या इच्छा, उस इच्छा की अभी पूर्ति नहीं हो पाई है। लेकिन हम लोगों ने कृष्ण भक्ति के विषय में, रागानुगा भक्ति के विषय में, ब्रजवासियों के प्रति जो प्रेम के विषय में वह प्राप्त करें, तो काफ़ी सहयोग योगदान हमारे व्यक्तिगत जीवन पर आइंद्र प्रभु का है। हम उनको इस आज के दिवस पर, पुण्यतिथि पर हम उनको याद करते हैं, और प्रत्यक्ष रूप से तो हमारे बीच नहीं हैं, लेकिन अभी हम अर्चना करते हैं उनके चरणों में कि आप कृपा कीजिए, आपकी जैसी निष्ठा हरिनाम में, भगवान के नाम के जप के प्रचार में, और साथ साथ कृष्ण भावना का जो कल्टीवेशन की जो भावना है, उस तीव्र इच्छा, आइंद्र प्रभु कृपा करके हम लोगों को ऑर्फेन के रूप में छोड़ मत दीजिएगा। जहाँ भी हैं वहाँ से अपने अपने जो ब्लेसिंग्स है, आपका आशीर्वाद है, आपकी कृपा है, हम डिजर्व करते, हम पर बरसाते रहेगा। मैं इतना ही कहकर समाप्त करता हूँ। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम।
अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। His Grace Aindra Prabhu ke. I'm very happy and overwhelmed because today we're celebrating the Tirubab Titi Mahotsav of His Grace Aindra Prabhu. It says that one is more remembered when he leaves his body, or after one left the body. But during Aindra Prabhu's time, present amongst us, he's been always remembered and famous. He doesn't have to wait. There is no difference between leaving the body and being present for Aindra Prabhu. And the first time I met Aindra Prabhu was in 1987. First time I came to India. And that means 1 year has already been here at the Krishna Balaram Mandir. The Sankirtan Yagya is going on. So I remember playing for him early after the Srimad Bhagavatam class. I was playing Mridanga, and because I was so enthusiastic, over enthusiastic at that time, playing Mridanga for him, that practically my hands were bleeding. And we became friends somehow or another, and every time I returned to Vrindavan, I would always ask for a new recorded tape or recorded music of his kirtans. And I would say my relationship with Aindra Prabhu is like a chutney. Something sweet and spicy also, because as a manager, I've been a manager since I joined full-time here, 2002. And I still remember because we used to have festivals, Radhastami, 10 o'clock at night. We will have darshan of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And then the excitement will just build up because, Mukunda Datta Prabhu and Radhe Shyam altar will just close and open and close and open. So the third time, finally it's closed. But then the kirtan will just start to build up. And devotees start to get wilder and wilder and wilder. And then after some time, okay, because I was there. Then one time I says, well, this is it now. Now it's time to close it up because we have to clean. And Aindra Prabhu was there. And Aindra Prabhu, we have to stop now. He says, why? Because the deities now are sleeping. Who says the deities sleep? Radha and Krishna, they're all up all night. They never sleep. So I can understand the mood, but I never thought of that also. Of course, we are not on the same level as he is. So I can understand that he's way, way beyond. Who says that here in Krishna Balaram Mandir or ISKCON, that there is no practice of Raganuga Bhakti? Others may say, oh, your Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada only teach you sadhana. Why don't you come with us? No. If you reach the acme or epitome of pure chanting the holy name, like Aindra Prabhu, then you can come to that platform also of spontaneous love towards Radha and Krishna. So I remember the last time I had association with him, we were on the way to America because every year I traveled with my Guru Maharaj for summer preaching. So I asked him, Prabhuji, please give me your blessings, give me your mercy. And he says, yes, because we're going to go for preaching. But then I don't have any clue. I did not have any clue that will be my last remembrance of having association with him. And we were in Vancouver, Canada at that time. And the news came that Aindra Prabhu left his body. And it was very, very, it's like heartbreaking moment that Aindra is not with us anymore. But his spirit is always with us. As long as Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir is there, Aindra Prabhu also will always be there. And I'm so happy to see a lot of young devotees here from different parts of India or in the world also. My request to all of you who would like to follow in the footsteps of Aindra Prabhu is to also be sincere and serious in your practice of Krishna consciousness like he did. Chant your rounds, japa especially, because your kirtan will reflect in how you chant your japa. Some like kirtan, but japa, little bit. But as you can see in the video of Aindra Prabhu, his hand is always in his japa beads. All the time. If he's not doing anything else, always chanting. So the purity is the force, Srila Prabhupada says. And the kirtan that's going on in Krishna Balaram Mandir travels all over the world in the ether. It's like how we receive the FM radio. So our purity will be reflected all over the world and it will help the world's chaos. Kali Yuga times is really, you can see all over the world what's going on in South Africa, COVID, all over the world. So by our chanting, it will help a little pacification, pacify the whole situation, and set a good example, especially you Kirtanayas. You're like Pujaris also. Like Pujari, they have a high standard. So Kirtanayas also should have high standard. Hare Krishna. His Grace Aindra Prabhu, okay?
My hand is weak. Maybe I can hold it my left hand. Aindra Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Aindra Prabhu was a true follower of Srila Prabhupada's desire that we absorb ourselves in the chanting of Hare Krishna. Prabhupada gives these beautiful lectures at the Rupa Goswami Samadhi. You can listen to them in 1972. And he talks a lot about if we develop our attachment to chanting Hare Krishna, then all other unfavorable things will go away. And this was Aindra Prabhu's message and his practice and his always walking his talk. Everything he said was always about chanting Hare Krishna. And also Srila Prabhupada, the main focus of whatever Srila Prabhupada spoke was about to encourage us to chant Hare Krishna. So I was reading online some quotes from Aindra Prabhu, and one particular one was really wonderful. All of them are so wonderful because they're all about chanting Hare Krishna and taking shelter of the holy name as a person, as a friend, as a constant companion. And I remember many times Aindra Prabhu and I had a very friendly, humorous relationship, and many times I would ask him different questions about this or that. And he said that whatever the problem is, whatever the discomfort is, the solution is always to chant Hare Krishna. But suppose I can't chant Hare Krishna very nicely, but then you chant Hare Krishna. You just keep chanting Hare Krishna, and then chanting Hare Krishna nicely will come. So in that mood, Aindra Prabhu, he has this beautiful expression that that has been noted here. When you chant your 16 rounds, you should think that this is my last chance to cry for the mercy of Radha and Krishna. And when you come to the last round, you should think that this is my last chance to try to please Radha and Krishna. And when you come to the last mantra of the last round, chanting in a way that you are really crying out. When you come to the last Hari, if Krishna didn't hear me with all these mantras, then let me call out Radharani's name, Krishna's names, with my last breath of the chanting. And then we should chant another 16 rounds in that same mood. So he puts so much attention into chanting our rounds as the focus of as the foundation of our service and our relationships and whatever we do. And I find as I'm getting older that chanting my rounds has become the focus of my day, and I try to encourage others. Aindra Prabhu, he went through so many different challenges because, as Govind and I were talking about this morning, he really liked to shock and to, as you say, wake people up and have them really think about, what am I doing here? What is my purpose? And always bringing it back to chanting Hare Krishna. So when he was challenged about his wonderful book, The Heart of Transcendental Book Distribution, and as we all know, there were some difficulties there, but we kept encouraging him, somehow or another, this book will get published. And I remember sharing a little joke with him that I tell every year, that we were going to put a little banner on the side of it, banned by the GBC, and we were thinking, no, maybe we shouldn't do that. But that was the mood. Whatever Aindra Prabhu, whatever he needed to do to push on the chanting of Hare Krishna. And actually that book, even though it's so deep, it's all about going deeper and deeper into the heart of chanting. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to glorify all these young devotees here and how much they've taken up this chanting of Hare Krishna and how much this pleases Srila Prabhupada. As our dear temple president Panchagoda Prabhu was saying, Srila Prabhupada initiated this 24-hour kirtan back in the early 70s, and then it fell away a little bit, I believe Sarvabhauma Prabhu was saying, and then it was Aindra Prabhu that came and reestablished this 24-hour kirtan. And you can see his potency, because how many devotees have come. So many ladies, so many men from all over the world have come here to participate in the 24-hour kirtan. And if they don't have any service, they come and they say, well, what can I do? Oh, you can go and sit down and chant Hare Krishna with the 24-hour kirtaners. So I'm very grateful because when guests come, I always steer them towards the temple to come and chant with the 24-hour kirtan devotees, and I feel very grateful that sometimes maybe I'm having a hard day or somebody else is having a difficult day, which is almost every day in Vrindavan. But then if we just come inside the temple and we hear the holy name and we sit under the tamal tree and we let the holy name just wash over us, there's something that happens. And this is what Aindra Prabhu was always talking about. It's an experience to chant Hare Krishna, to hear the holy name, to really focus in on the Har and the Re and the Ram and the Ma, and allow the holy name to become a source of constant inspiration and a companion. The holy name is a person. So whenever we feel we're lonely or we feel like we don't know, we get confused. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. Yes, every year for Appearance and Disappearance Day, I always think, what will I say? As Prabhu said, although coming to Vrindavan over the years, I wasn't fortunate enough to have an association, much as personal association with Aindra Prabhu. And, but I did have association with Aindra Prabhu because I happened to marry this devotee girl, Vishaka, some 10 years ago. And I think hardly a day goes by that she doesn't say something about Aindra Prabhu. No, she's home. She even has trouble coming to these things. She's an emotional person, and hasn't been feeling well. Yes, I did say that. She was invited, and I wish she would come and speak, because there's a whole different perspective about Aindra Prabhu, because he also talked with her. He encouraged her. So much of what you see in her now came from him. whether, just like Aindra Prabhu was he was a divisive personality. When you hear him speak, you either would have to accept it or think of reasons why you don't have to accept it. But he had that potency, he had that power because of the holy name. So I'll tell you a few things I've heard from her over the years, literally over the years, and it's my memory of what she said. So one thing, of course, was New Year's Eve. And he would always say, we don't care about New Year's Eve, but all these people are coming to the temple. And he was there for New Year's Eve. He was there for New Year's at the stroke of midnight having kirtan. He said, whatever excuse we can engage people in kirtan, we'll engage them in kirtan. She was one of, I guess, a handful of ladies, young ladies, who they were like the dancers off to the side when kirtan was going on. And she was one of those. When he would speak to her, he always told her, and I think you'll see he had a great effect on her, to dress very beautifully for Krishna, for Shama Sundar. He said, not that you should not dress up. He said, don't worry about it. He said, you're dressing for Krishna. He said, you must dress very beautifully for Krishna. And it was something he emphasized to her a few times, and something, of course, she's taken up quite effectively over the years. She happened to be in Mayapur at this time of the year. And she was there taking care of some things. And he contacted her and he said, you have to come back immediately. He said, come back right away. The next day, he was gone. And she didn't get to, it was one of her great regrets, she didn't get to see him that one last time. But he encouraged her, as he did everyone he was in contact with. The results we can see. Whenever she hears a kirtan with a tune, so many years later, with a tune, oh, that's Aindra's tune. That was it. She'd begin swooning, listening to the Hare Krishna mantra in such a tune, you know. Those of you that carry those tunes, she's always so grateful. He had such an influence in her life, just like sometimes I'll tell, I have these dreams of Prabhupada. You know, he comes, he gives me instructions, he says things. She's had these dreams. And he would always say the same thing. There was a period of time where she decided it's such a battle just to dress nicely for Krishna as a woman. You can be seen as an affront against so many. And she literally toned it down, which you can imagine, those of you that know Vishaka know, toning down, dressing nicely was not an easy thing for her, but she did it. And after a week or so, he came. He said, what are you doing? He said, why are you dressing like that? He said, you have to dress very beautifully for Krishna. He said, everything is for Krishna. Just like the kirtan. We know Prabhupada said, as spiritual master, as he said, you have to dress very beautifully. And Prabhupada said the same thing. So Aindra Prabhu, he was very much, in every way, he followed the spiritual master. And that's what he said. If you're not following these things, then find a different spiritual master, one who promotes what Prabhupada gave. These were direct instructions by Prabhupada as well. So a couple times over the years, over 10 years, she would get into that mood. And every time he would come. And he'd say, you have to dress very beautifully for Krishna. You have to dance very nicely for Krishna. Everything directed for Krishna. So although somehow or other I didn't have his association, I feel his presence very often. Very often Aindra's presence, and of course I see it ongoing. So many of you who have had his association, who were there at the kirtan. Many of you are here. Some of you are in different parts of the world, but he certainly infected you with that spirit. So he definitely lives on in many, many ways. Had such a wonderful impact, more than so many of us have now, or even will have after we go. So what he did is wonderful, and I have to thank him for putting in my wife so many understandings of what it means to be Krishna conscious. He was very strict in his relationships, as men and women go. At the same time, he was able to speak to them. He was able to encourage them, even empower them in their Krishna consciousness. So just like I know Aindra, we would say he was outside of the box. Actually, he wasn't outside of the box. He was very much inside the box, doing what was to be done. We're outside of the box if we're not following these instructions that were given by Srila Prabhupada. He was in the box. But I thought today, every time I come up, I struggle to think of what to say. And I thought today, well, I would try to speak for her just a little bit, because she's given him a purpose. And I think that's all. I will stop here. So I'd like to thank you all very much. Aindra Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Nama Eva Kevalam Kaulam Nastyeva Gatiranyata. His Grace Aindra Prabhu ki Nam Sankirtan Yagya ki Nam Prabhu ki Sisi Nitai Sachi Sutta ki Hare Krishna. So we are very fortunate to be assembled here in Vrindavan Dham on this auspicious day of Hera Panchami. Every day is auspicious in Braj, in Vrindavan. And today is Hera Panchami, a very beautiful festival in Jagannath Puri. Of course, so when he left, it was Hera Panchami Titi in the evening time. And the next day actually was Bharakreshwar Pandit's disappearance day. This year is together. But actually, when he left, it was also 16th July. And so, Hera Panchami Titi. It was Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. What? Saturday? No, today is Friday. But he left on Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. What? Saturday, yeah, he was supposed to dress the deities and he didn't show up. And then they called me at 20 to 7. Aindra Prabhu is not here, we're knocking on the door, and then I rushed to the temple and went on the altar, and one day I asked one devotee to help me to dress Radhe Shyam, because Saturday and Sunday were his days for dressing the deities. So the day, of course, is auspicious. Our beautiful description is there. Mahaprabhu hearing Shivas Pandit and Sarupa Damodar discussing about this wonderful festival, and Shivas Pandit glorifying Lakshmi Devi, and then Sarupa Damodar glorifying the gopis. And of course, in this transcendental debate, Sarupa Damodar was the winner. So, and of course we know we are performing devotional service, we're chanting the holy names and trying to advance in spiritual life. coming to the highest stage. And so Aindra Prabhu, he was very particular in explaining this subject matter, that we have to perform devotional service as the Prabhu, Jesus was saying, Seva sadhaka rupana siddha rupana chatrahi. Externally, but internally then we have to develop this Braj Bhav, following the footsteps of the Ragatmik Jan, the eternally liberated souls, the gopis, or those in Vatsalya Ras, they follow Mother Yashoda. But he was completely absorbed in the mood of the gopis. Specifically, he was very much inclined towards Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. And of course, Vakreshwar Pandit Disappearance Day, also significant. He was an expert singer and dancer. One time he chanted for 72 hours. And as we know, Aindra Prabhu also, so he used to chant for many, many hours. I mean, I'm not a Kirtaniya, but sometimes I chant Radha Madhav during the class, or sometimes some little program, half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we get tired. Even the Prabhus here, they chant in the Kirtan for how long? 1 hour? Of course, now there are so many devotees, but one devotee is leading for 3 hours? No, usually 1 hour, and they change. Another devotee is chanting 1 hour, even sometimes in morning time, half an hour. But he used to chant for many, many hours together, leading the kirtan, especially in the beginning, because there were not many devotees, or even before. Actually, the first time I met him was in New York, 1984. I went there for a visit. I stayed there for 3 years. And so we met there, and immediately, somehow, birds of the same feather flock together. So we had a similar mood and similar kind of understanding. So immediately we had a very close relationship, and I used to speak, I used to come and see him in the temple in New York, in the basement. And he was then speaking always about devotional service, about Krishna consciousness, about the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of the holy names, and about Radha and Krishna. I mean, practically I never heard him speaking Prajalpa, only Krishna Katha. Of course, sometimes some things he didn't agree with, for example, even some senior devotees, what they were saying, or the GBCs even, or the Guru Jan, he had some transcendental difference there, and he was expressing, but he was giving his view. And although, as we know, he was very strong in his opinion, but according to Guru Sadhu and Shastra and his realization, so and so even in New York, when he was there going out, he had his truck turned into a temple with small deities of Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, and his small Gonitai. And then chanting for many hours. At that time also not many devotees. 2, 3, 4, 5 hours chanting. And here also in the beginning, 86 when he started, there were not many devotees. He was chanting for many hours. So much energy, transcendental energy. Of course, physically he was strong, but because of his austerities also, and because of his determination, because of his love, he was chanting for many hours the holy names. And in this way, inspiring the devotees and inspiring the public also. And the more the years were going by, the more devotees were joining the Kirtan party. And from all over the world, the devotees were then listening his famous Kirtans. Very melodious, different rags, different melodies he was chanting, which were not even known in ISKCON, but because he was also here associated with Brijbasis who were expert singers, or Gaudiya Vaishnavas, so he learned different tunes which are very beautiful and not so well known in ISKCON. And then of course he was inspired by the Lord and chanting, sometimes the Lord is inspiring the devotees to to say something or to do a special service or dress the deities. One must have some training, but then the Lord is inspiring also, and He is revealing. So much was revealed to him because of his dedication, because of his always trying to do everything for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and the deities. So his deities and even the deities in the temple. So, and towards the end of his stay in this world, actually his kirtan in the evening, of course throughout the days devotees used to come and stay a little bit in the kirtan. But of course most of the devotees, they came in the evening time when Aindra Prabhu was chanting from 6 to 7. And then practically the whole temple room was almost full, and then sometimes hardly room for the devotees to come by, to even take darshan, because everyone wanted to hear and to chant with Aindra Prabhu, because then Krishna was present. That when is a pure devotee chanting, Krishna is becoming present. Whereas if one is simply seeing the deities, but the consciousness is not elevated, what do you see? Only Krishna is there, but still. But then when he was chanting, it was so, the atmosphere was so charged, because he was chanting Shuddhanam, chanting the pure name, and in this way, so attracting so many devotees towards the chanting, that is a symptom of a pure devotee. Simply by seeing him, one will be inspired to chant. And we could see practically devotees used to come there and sit and chant because of Aindra Prabhu. And when other times, hardly any devotees were there. Of course, it's the prime time, but still. Even other times, especially the festival days, Abhishek, every Abhishek, he used to chant also. Go Punima Janmashtami, during the Abhishek, and then again they are chanting, not just for half an hour, 1 hour. Now we have many wonderful devotees who are expert, but at that time he was, of course, most expert always and most pure, so he used to chant 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. When the program was over, Abhishek is over, Atik is over, and devotees are coming for prasadam, but Aindra Prabhu was still there chanting. And those who were really dedicated to him, they were with him chanting the holy names non-stop. And Janmashtami also, as one devotee was saying, Radhashtami. So morning time Abhishek 2-3 hours, and then evening time special darshan was there at night time, and then again chanting for 2-3 hours. So is the embodiment of chanting pure name, Shuddhanam. And therefore he was attracting so many devotees, the youth who were, of course, different times, even the Gurukulis, so going through Gurukul and having to chant the holy names and then not having taste for the holy name. But then they could see there's a person here who has taste for the holy name, so they were sitting with him and chanting, although maybe they didn't have taste for japa, but because Aindra Prabhu had here, of course, taste for japa also, therefore he had taste for Krishna Kirtan. But because he had the taste, so the devotees, they were staying with him, and then they also got the taste for chanting the holy names. And they helped them so much. But he also helped the senior devotees, those who are already more established in devotional service, and helping them to advance further, especially in the realm of which we have to ultimately come to, which is Raganuga Bhakti. We have to, if you want to go to Golok, who wants to go to Golok? Haribol, everyone. So then you have to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But you have to chant with love. So Hare Krishna. You want me to stop or almost? Okay, I just what to do. So and then so inspired so many devotees, but then also actually, so that was my main contribution, chanting Shuddhanam, entering into Ragamag, Raganuga Bhakti, and then of course Bhav Bhakti to be attained, but first Raganuga Bhakti. But then he had other contributions which are important as far as I'm concerned, because I'm a pujari. I mean, he was expert in dressing the deities very beautifully. Again, because he had a taste for the holy names, so he had love, and of course he had his own deities, but he liked to come on the altar also and dress Radhisham, because I mean Radhishama was beautiful. Sisi Radhishama Sundar ki. And because he was also reading the scriptures, of course he read all of Prabhupada's books, but then as Prabhupada was saying also that we should read the books of the Goswamis, like Prabhupada is writing, anyone who wants to know about Bhakti, Bhagavan and the Bhakta must read Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And then he was mentioning, so Prabhu was mentioning about Govinda Lilamrita, he gave right to Sarvabhauma Prabhu. And because he had read that also, and Krishna Bhavanamrita, Prabhupada is writing, that the advanced devotees, they are relishing this book, Krishna Bhavanamrita. And then you can become absorbed. So he was completely absorbed in Radha Krishna's pastimes, and therefore he was speaking. When he was speaking for hours. He was giving class sometimes here, 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock, that the president or the management saying, okay, now we have to stop. And they used to go on 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Devotees, you can go for prasad if you have order seva, please go. But I would like to continue and say something more. And then he was speaking till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, all about Radha and Krishna. But then of course, other activities had to go on, and then sometimes the management was telling him also, well, that was a little bit too much, so you won't give class for some time now. And he accepted it, but then again after some time he was asked to speak. So he could speak non-stop because he had Nam Ruchi and the Seva Ruchi, and so he could non-stop glorifying Krishna and the gopis, because he had read all these books of the previous acharyas also, all the books of the previous acharyas. So he was completely absorbed in that. And then of course even his renunciation was exemplary. He was extremely renounced, following Chaturmas like nobody else could do in ISKCON. Very austere, just eating once a day khichdi, and a few times in Chandrayan Vrat, you start on the full moon with a nice plate of khichdi, and then you reduce every day till new moon when you have only a little bit. And then again you increase, extremely renounced, and then Kartik Vrat, also Purushottam Vrat. So he was following all these vrats just to show the devotees that you have to be renounced also, you have to do some tapasya in order to actually become free from material attachment and get a taste and become attracted to Krishna and attached to Krishna. So he was following strictly Chaturmas, Purushottam Vrat, Kartik Vrat, and even actually those who are strict, they even follow them in Posh Mas and even Vaishak Mas. They will also perform some vrat, and he was doing that also. So he was very learned. He read Prabhupada's books, and he was expert in Prabhupada's books, trying to do according, catching the mood. He was Saragraha Vaishnav. Saragrahi Vaishnav. He understood what is the essence of Prabhupada's teachings, the previous acharyas, which is Nam Sankirtan, and developing pure love for Krishna. And then he tried to distribute and give that to others. So on this auspicious day, we pray to his lotus feet that we may also be absorbed one day in Nam Kirtan and in Braj Bhav, so we may come to the highest levels of pure bhakti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Aindra Prabhu ke.
Hari. And for the first time, we were able to convince many of our younger devotees to muster up some courage and say a few words. Who will come? Pavanitai Prabhu, Mahabhagavat Prabhu, Krishna Kumar Prabhu, very eager. Then Shobham Stoka Krishna Prabhu. Is he here? Yeah. Of course, Aranya Vihari Prabhu is there. Then who else from the ladies? Please, I forget people. So, can you remind me otherwise? Of course, the Kinchana, I don't have to mention it. He will speak. Gopal naturally. This is not the younger devotee. This is the seasoned made man. You know. Yeah. Okay. So back to Ram Roy Prabhuji. Many of you know Ram Roy Prabhu. He's doing the Harinam Sankirtan Yagya in New York City, which is not a, how do you say, a pleasant place to to perform Sankirtan Yagya, where the, as Prabhupada puts it, the atmosphere is surcharged with opposition. And also he said, Prabhupada said, that he was thinking about going to London like all of his godbrothers, but he decided to go to New York because he considers New York as the headquarters of Maya. So when you get into a fight, first you have to take out the largest, most dangerous person. Then the rest will be easier, you know, so. So all respect to Ram Roy Prabhu for battling New York against all odds. You know? If I could just find it. There. Dear Aindra Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. On this 11th year anniversary of your departure and ascension, I pray for the ability to be able to do what is necessary in the time I have left in this life, to be qualified to meet up with you again when I leave this life. My attempt to make daily Harinam in New York City for the past 9.5 years has been extremely purifying and elevating. You know, when devotees say purifying, that means difficult. It's suffering. So I'm doing this and tolerating all difficulties associated with this effort to find you again, to please you. In this way, the overwhelming pain of your separation is somewhat mitigated, and inconceivable supramundane transformations are made miraculously possible. My constant prayer is for honest, pure-hearted, and well-motivated devotees to come forward to dedicate themselves to this New York City Harinam mission and adopt it as their life and soul. I'm getting older. I'm now 5 years older than you were when you left us. Please bless me and put in a good word for me to your Radha Shyam Sundar. Thank you for taking me as your friend. I am forever grateful. Your servant, Rama Roy Das. Rama Roy Prabhu gets very emotional when it comes to his devotion to Radha and Krishna. And when it comes to Aindra Prabhu, if you know him, you know what I'm talking about. Now we have Vrindavan Prabhu, Aindra Prabhu's favorite Mridanga player. It's a fact, don't laugh. Okay. I asked Aindra and he said, Vrindavan is my favorite Mridanga player. And he said he was good, but Vrindavan knows what I want. And he has his classic style, and it's a fact. It's a fact. Vrindavan is very good. I'm not joking. I don't know, you laugh. Okay. I really like his offering. So, he's also a bit eccentric. He sent me handwritten notes, each sentence as a photo. Handwritten. You see, like this. Things are crossed out and stuff. But it's nice. It's like high school. So, it says, all glories to Aindra Prabhu, who, ... One, encouraged. So, who encouraged and inspired so many devotees around the world by his pure chanting of the holy name. Many of those being ex-Guru Kulis who were just about to drift away from Krishna consciousness, but came right back upon hearing his kirtan performance. I have recently met many of those cases. One boy in Canada told me, I would be in a bar right now if it weren't for Aindra. Patita Pavana Aindra Prabhu ki jai. Number 2, so who is one of the best kirtan leaders in the Hare Krishna movement? I would say he's the second best kirtan leader, Srila Prabhupada being the best kirtan leader. But right after him, it's Aindra. No doubt about it in my mind. Number 3, who was very well versed and learned in Shastra, including Padma Purana. Number 4, would perform Harinam Sankirtan for 14 hours a day back in his younger days. And it's a fact, when Aindra Prabhu was in New York, he had a flatbed truck which he turned into a mobile temple. He would go into the city, New York City, they say the city that never sleeps. Okay? There's people in the daytime and equal amount of people in the night. Their clubs open at 4 o'clock in the morning. They're crazy. They're straight up crazy people. And they took sense gratification to another level. And people come out at night. There's a class of people that come out at night, 10 o'clock at night. They party all night, or I don't know whatever they're doing, and go to sleep in the morning. Sleep throughout the day, come out at night. I mean, they're going backwards. So, yeah, 14 hours. Aindra Prabhu would go to St. Mark's Place. No, I'm sorry. Greenwich Village. It's like a party zone. And he would stay until 4 in the morning chanting with his truck. And 4 o'clock in the morning he would go back to the temple, attend Mongol Artik, and he would also go to sleep. But he would do regularly 10-hour kirtan, and he wouldn't stop. Only stop every 2-3 hours for 5 minutes, say a few words about the philosophy, and then just go again with the kirtan program. And he was very successful. And then he ran into some philosophical ideological problems with the management that didn't support him. And then he decided to move to Vrindavan in 1985. And by 1986 he started the 24-hour kirtan. And I would say this is Krishna's arrangement to take him out of New York City. He has done enough preaching to actually come back home. And, first deserve, then desire, right? We hear this phrase. So he definitely deserved to be here in Vrindavan. So number 5, who was like a lion. He was so expert at smashing misconceptions that anyone who had about anything, especially in relation to spiritual life. Number 6, who was the most expert at dressing Shri Radha Shyamsundar here in Vrindavan. It is true, when you saw Radha Shyamsundar, of course, Radha Shyamsundar or Radha Shyamsundar, but when Krishna is surrounded by his, that's Krishna's one feature that nowhere to be found anywhere else but in Vrindavan. that Krishna is surrounded by his loving gopis. Okay? So when Aindra Prabhu was dressing Radha Shyamsundar, they really came to alive. You saw Shyamsundar just became a very sweet boy, totally conquered by the love of Srimati Radharani, and you could see Radharani was equally conquered by Shyamsundar, but she had the upper hand, and she kept Shyamsundar under her control. And the way he dressed Radha Shyamsundar, they try to copy it in many places. I was born in Hungary, okay, so now they have Radha Shyamsundar deities there. They try to make the same Radha Shyamsundar deities there. They try to dress them the way Aindra. So Aindra set the standard in so many ways. Whatever he touched, just take his book, for example, his kirtan, his lectures, his deity dressing, even his cooking, because he was very renowned, but he would cook up some rice and throw in some vegetables, plenty of ghee, and some masala at the end, but because of the touch of his hand, it was just like ambrosial nectar. And we were looking for every morning to get the remnants of the prasad, or if you stayed up with him, which we always do, he would do the offering after midnight, because he would just talk about Radha and Krishna for long and long and long hours. He couldn't stop. Like who was saying, Mukunda Datta Prabhu said that he was doing kirtan for hours, or talk about Krishna for hours, because he had Nam Ruchi. So the more he talked, the more taste would develop, ever expanding. It's the spiritual world, And that's his dressing of Radha Shyamsundar. Number 7, just by staying in one place, right here in Sri Vrindavan Dham, performing kirtan in a temple room, had a great influence over the entire planet. So true. I don't have to explain it to you. Everybody knows. Number 8, who upon chanting 2 or 3 lakhs a day is considered by some as the contemporary Namacharya. Okay. I asked Aindra Prabhu, how many rounds are you chanting? A year before he left, he says 116 rounds a day. And then he says, when it comes to Kartik, Purushottam Mas, special days, 3 lakhs, 192 rounds. While he was doing his deity worship, if you've been to Aindra Prabhu's room, 2,500 Shalagram Shilas, Nitai Sachi Sutta, cooking, preaching, kirtan in a temple. I mean, sometimes he didn't have time for sleeping, and he didn't. He was very austere. Chaturmasya, he told me for 13 years, he performed Havan. He only ate rice and dal, soaked in water, not cooked. Only soaked in water, which is digestible, but it's not cooked. No salt, no ghee, no spices, nothing. Just rice and dal, saltless. For 4 months, every Chaturmasya, eating this while putting your hand behind your back and bowing down, eating from the floor, not from a plate, from the floor. For 13 years, every year for 4 months. And he said, I was performing Chaturmasya in such an austerity. Why? He says, by all these austerities, you will not get Krishna Prema. But I am such a fallen sense enjoyer that I know when time of death comes, I have to be prepared. So I'm preparing myself. Because many of us seen, dying body, soul leaves the body and becomes emancipated. You cannot drink, cannot eat sometimes for weeks, and your body becomes a skeleton, just skin and bones. Okay? It's very drastic. very brutal. So he says, I'm such a sense enjoyer, I want to be able to tolerate it, so I'm training myself for the point of time of death. That was his humility. Actually, he was super austere. Too austere, maybe. He would, during Chaturmasya, he wouldn't sleep in a bed, but he brought Jamuna sand, and he would sleep on the sand. And then he would put some plywood around it, and they called it Aindra's coffin, because it looked like a coffin, kind of. So, etc. Number 9, who would do kick-ass kirtan, as he would call it, as opposed to casual kirtan. It's a fact. You heard when he was speaking? He said, in Kali Yuga, you have to get fired up. Because, what is the saying? The quack that, what is it? The duck that quacks the loudest gets the buck. I don't know how exactly it goes. So, if you're serious and you mean it, and you want, Radha Shamsundar to listen to your plea, then you have to pour out your heart, and you have to cry, and you have to be loud. Right? Narottam Das Thakur says, nobody's more fallen than me. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya, I am the recipient of your mercy. Number 10, live the very austere and renounced life, following Chaturmasya strictly, and so on. I have already described it. Number 11, help to reawaken awareness of the great necessity and importance of performing the Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan. If one criticizes him, they are committing the first offense against the holy name. Vrindavan Prabhu. Then he says, upon years of such dedicated, pure-hearted, selfless devotional service and chanting of the pure holy name, had realized his Vraja Svarup in the Madhurya Rasa. 13. Has now undoubtedly entered into the Nitya Leelas of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna. More like the Boma Leelas first, then the Nitya Leelas. 14. Is actually still fully present here in Sri Vrindavan Dham, although he may not be visible to you. If you were here in Vrindavan and you've seen him, heard him, you can probably still hear him and hear him. So this is the end of Vrindavan Prabhu's offering. Would like to call Gopal Prabhu next. And Prasadam will be at 2 o'clock. It will not be late. So we have 30 minutes, and everybody say a little 5-10 minutes. And then we will honor the Prasadam for Aindra Prabhu's. Unfortunately, I don't know, I wanted to have some nice kirtan also, but if we don't have time, come down at 4 o'clock for our kirtan shift, and we will have a blast. Okay?
I'm going to try to keep this short. Glorification of Aindra Prabhu on this most auspicious day of his departure. Vanchakopatrupyasya kripasindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yugadharma Harinam Sankirtan Ki. So, as we're all experiencing right now, this humid heat of Vrindavan, right? Who's feeling nice and warm and sticky and humid? So, Aindra Prabhu, in his American white body, would have from head to toe prickly heat rash. Who knows what prickly heat rash is? You put some talcum powder or nothing would cure that. He tried many things, nothing worked, and he was suffering in this kind of humidity. So that was the first thing that I was reminded of coming. Radhe Shyam Prabhu from MVT and myself, we put some money together, and after years, I mean years and years of fighting and arguing and debating with Aindra Prabhu, he surrendered finally to getting an air conditioner. And we paid for that. But he still didn't want it to be set up for him. So we had to convince him a second time to put it above his deities, so that the air conditioning would flow down onto his deities and then into the room. And that cut the humidity, and he never got prickly heat rash again. That's just the tip of the iceberg of the tapasya that Aindra Prabhu experienced here, among many other things like typhoid, malaria, jaundice, etc. Multiple times, not once. Urinary tract infections, etc. His physical health was always a challenge. Just a few quick points, and then I'm going to go into reading some things that Aindra Prabhu actually wrote. I once asked Aindra Prabhu, what is Raganuga Bhakti? And this is for all of the young, new generation 24-hour Kirtan devotees. He told me, it means you get up for Mangalarti without an alarm clock. You have that spontaneity and love and devotion in your heart that you automatically get up and you want to run to the temple room and see Krishna and perform Harinam Sankirtan. That's Raganuga Bhakti. He wasn't into hairstyles. If you had a hairstyle, he'd ban you from the kirtan, from leading the kirtan especially. Shave up or get out. That's Aindra Prabhu. Sorry. Don't want to offend anyone. Dear Aindra Prabhu, please accept my humble dandavats at the decades and decades of your service to your beloved spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. I'm going to skip my offering and just go straight into what Aindra Prabhu has to say. This was published by Daivi Shakti Mataji in a magazine that she was circulating in the community in the 90s, mid-90s. And Aindra Prabhu wrote an article called, We're Doing This For You. There are 9 distinct processes of pure devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, and Atmanivedanam. Of all these, Kirtan, Nam Sankirtan, is the most powerful. Of the different types of Nam Kirtan, Harinam Sankirtan is the most powerful. And Maha Harinam Sankirtan, mass chanting and dancing, is the most powerful of all. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam states, Yagir Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihe Shumedasa. Those who have good brain substance will attach themselves to the performance of Harinam Sankirtan Yagya. Of all the places to perform Sankirtan Yagya, Sri Vrindavan Dham is the most powerful. Sankirtan, or any devotional service performed in Vrindavan, has 1,000 times the potency of the same service done anywhere else in the world. Thus, the international importance and benefit of Sankirtan done in Vrindavan Dham Sankirtan done in Vrindavan Dham compared in magnitude to the establishment of 24-hour kirtan at 1,000 different centers. You get that point? So if you have 1,000 different centers all over the world and they're doing 24-hour kirtan, that's equal to one 24-hour kirtan party here in Vrindavan Dham. Establish of 24-hour kirtan in 1,000 different centers around the world. Therefore, 24-hour kirtan, Sankirtan in Vrindavan, also must be seen as a form of Maha Harinam Sankirtan. Just as the sages of Namasaranya resolved to perform a 1,000-year sacrifice to benefit the people of this fallen age of Kali, similarly, Srila Prabhupada instructed that a group of 16 devotees should perform Harinam Sankirtan continuously at the Krishna Balaram Mandir. Our doing this kind of Harinam Mahayagya has far-reaching effects. It helps maintain the strong and healthy Krishna-conscious atmosphere of the temple for the spiritual benefit of the Vrindavan ISKCON community and the devotees and the public at large. It helps inspire and strengthen everyone's commitment to advance in pure devotional life. Everyone can participate Golok Premadan Harinam Sankirtan. Ultimately, Radha Krishna Prema is the only goal of our chanting. By participating in this type of apolitical sacrifice of spiritual welfare, spiritual welfare service, we can hope to please Guru and Gauranga and taste the fruit of Prema Bhakti in this very life. Harinam Eva Kevalam. Now, many of you have heard Aindra Prabhu's recordings of Kirtan. As a young devotee, we would get these cassettes. Maybe some of you know what a cassette is, maybe some of you don't. If you know what a cassette is, then you're pretty old. But a cassette was like you play it with the earphones and a Walkman before the digital era happened. So Aindra Prabhu was communicating not only through his kirtans, through his cassettes. He would write a little kind of explanation or a petition to the listener. So on his first triple album release of Vrindavan Mellows, he writes, "May this cassette serve to remind you of Vrindavan, the perfect place to lead a spiritually progressive life. It is the home of Lord Krishna as well as the home of his pure devotees who know the meaning of unalloyed devotion. In this dark age of Kali, quarrel, and hypocrisy, such rarely achieved devotion, self-realization, and God-realization, Krishna consciousness, are greatly facilitated by the natural yet superb method of singing these sweet holy names of the Lord congregationally. Always live in Vrindavan, at least mentally, and happily absorb your thoughts in the delightful pastimes of Krishna by constantly chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Balaram Mandir's 24-hour kirtan was inaugurated and is sustained by the express will of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Its purpose is to help generate a pure, spiritually charged atmosphere, to strengthen everyone's commitment to advance in devotional life. Golok Prema Dan, Harinam Sankirtan. Our only real goal is Raja Krishna Prema. We are keeping body and soul together to facilitate this aim only. And then there's an explanation of the expense for running the department, and it's 60 men. Now I'm going to skip to Vraja Vilas, his last official released album, and this is what he had to say on that cassette, which later became a CD. Vraja Vilas. Krishna Balaram Mandir's 24-hour Kirtan Mandal was inaugurated and sustained by the express will of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Our purpose is to help generate a pure, spiritually charged atmosphere to strengthen everyone's commitment to advance in unalloyed devotional life. Krishna consciousness. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalava Bhakti Sadma. We should try to deeply understand and appreciate this sanguine. Who knows what sanguine means? I looked it up in the dictionary, I didn't know. It means positive. Point, what our Guru Vargya actually wants to give us. Kevala Bhakti means that exclusive devotional love, which is untinged by any type of concern for one's personal, sensitive satisfaction, may it be material or spiritual. To be real, it is seen that such quality of devotion is only to be noticed in the realm of Raja Lila, where Radha Krishna's pleasure is the only concern. Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord, performed in pursuit of this standard of Krishna consciousness, exemplified by the love of the Vrajavasis, can undoubtedly help us realize and actually taste the sweetness of unalloyed love of Godhead. Radha Krishna Prema, in this very lifetime. This chanting should go on instead of meetings, resolutions, dissolutions, revolutions, and then no solution. There should be chanting, Sankirtan Yagya, and Krishna consciousness go well together. That's a quote from Srila Prabhupada. All classes of devotees should be encouraged to do more and more and more Harinam Sankirtan on a regular basis, daily basis. Faith in the process of Nam Sankirtan is our only real wealth. Do not abandon this principle, thinking there is a more viable alternative. We cannot spread the Krishna consciousness movement by our material calculations. The only thing we need is increased Krishna consciousness. And to that end, there is a need to focus more of our time and energy on doing the Yuga Dharma. And on the printout, it's bold capitals, doing the Yuga Dharma. Performance of the Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan is the simplest and most effective way to please Lord Chaitanya and solve all the material and spiritual problems of life, both individually and collectively. Yagya, sacrifice, is indispensable in the evolvement of prema bhakti. We should never overlook, neglect, minimize, take for granted, nor underestimate the power of this primary and most essential form of sacrifice bestowed upon us by the Lord and his representative Acharya Parampara. Always live in the beautiful land of Raj. At least mentally, and happily absorb your thoughts in the delightful pastimes of Krishna, Vrajavilas, by constantly chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Human life is very short. Please keep it simple, Prabhus. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. Don't delay, do it today. Take shelter of the holy names as your only business. Harinam Eva Kevalam, director of 24-hour Kirtan, Krishna Balar Mandir's 24-hour Kirtan. Shripad Aindra Prabhu ki!
Anshakalpatribhyascha kripasindhuvevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. No, there's never enough time for these things. There's never enough time to say what you want to say. There was one time Aindra Prabhu was telling about different types of kirtan. He said there's one type of kirtan that is like the Maharas, when Krishna is dancing with so many different types of gopis. And that's like when you're doing Harinam Sankirtan with all kinds of guests and pilgrims and visitors, all kinds of unknown persons. And then Krishna also has a pastime where he does a more intimate type of Ras Leela with his more intimate associates. That's like when you get to do kirtan with, maybe like-minded devotees. So he was telling me that, and I said, Aindra Prabhu, you're very lucky because you get to do like the more intimate type of kirtan, but in the Maharas kind of setting, because you have all of your interesting melodies and interesting kirtan styles, but you're singing in the temple room in front of so many guests and so many pilgrims. It was kind of a stupid thing what I said, but that's what I said. I said, you're very lucky. And so Aindra, he looked at me and he was like, yeah, maybe you can say that I'm lucky. He said, but actually, it is because of the determination of one man that we have what we have here today. I don't want to read a long thing. I was just, Aindra's left us such a feast, actually. You can dine on the things that he said, the recordings that he made. Aindra said, living without any consideration of one's own happiness, that is Braja Bhakti. That is Braja life. You can cultivate that bhav anywhere in the world, but by cultivating that bhav in Vrindavan, you get 1,000 times the result of cultivating that bhav anywhere else. This Vrindavan Yatra, the Krishna Balaram Mandir, this is the best place to preach Krishna consciousness in the whole of India. It's the best preaching facility. It's a question of recognizing it for what it is and actually getting the job done. He understood, Aindra Prabhu understood everything. He understood there is Govardhan, there's Radhakund, there's so many wonderful places of Krishna Leela, there's so many, maybe comparably higher places to go. But why is he here at this Krishna Balaram Mandir? Because it's the best place to preach. This is his Sankirtan spot. Anyway, so his encouragement was, we should live for the benefit of others. He is not just living here to do his private bhajan. Like Govinda Prabhu said, he had preached enough. But he didn't stop preaching when he came to Vrindavan. He continued to preach. His whole mission was preaching. He preached to us. If he didn't preach to us, where would we be? So his whole mood of living here, doing kirtan here, was for the benefit of others. So he was preaching to a devotee. He said, so you should come here and you should let it rip for the pleasure of Krishna. Actually, honestly, this is a topic I wish I had like 3 hours to speak instead of 3 minutes, but we'll just leave it there. Thank you so much. All glories to Aindra Prabhu.
I don't know, we have so many speakers to speak. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Today everyone asked for the parole, words to start the speaking. But my relationship with Aindra Prabhu were more based on he's been as a pujari and one who's dressed in the deity of Radhashima Sundar. Usually I always speak about the garlands and flowers, but this year it came to my mind and there was one photo of Aindra Prabhu. If you notice, he's wearing Srimati Radharani's veil, that's flower dress veil. And he looks so cute there. So I just felt like to speak few things that he was actually very innovating in this area for us, because we started to make flower dress. Purnima Mataji actually started, I don't know what year, when Aindra Prabhu was dressing, and that was made just with local roses and bella and those margarets. And we were using Fevicon glue, which was very hard to dry, especially if it was rainy season. It was difficult to dry. You have to make much time before in order to get dry. So I remember that was one time when I knew Aindra Prabhu has been strong and fiery. Otherwise, I always knew his very soft side. I never experienced that harshness or fireness. I only knew in my relationship with him has been always protective and very sweet and soft. But that time it was Janmashtami, and we were making flower dress for Radhashima Sundar Lalita Vishaka and using this Fevicon. And the flowers we were using, this margarets, they were quite thick. Anyway, it must be rainy weather also. The glue didn't dry. The dress was very heavy and was wet. And he had to put it 10 o'clock in the night for the last darshan. And then next day, he told me, very simple, so I'm not going to put this kind of flower dress anymore. It's heavy, it's wet. Radhashima Sundar is not acceptable for Radhashima Sundar. So we had to come up with some other idea. Means like it was actually he pushed. And for a while there were dresses, that Vrindavan style dresses that Banka Bihari people used to make. But the shortcomings of the dresses was that Srimati Radharani Gopi didn't get a proper skirt, because to put Tagore Kakali on the skirt, it takes ages. And usually the Radharani skirt and Gopi skirt was practically empty. So that requires some kind of, different way to do it. So after some years, Vishesha Mataji from France, she had experience to use the glue gun. And that glue instantly dries. And it's not as heavy. So in this way, Aindra Prabhu also pushed this through. And then we started to make dresses like this, and he was very happy with this, because he always liked it to offer Radha Shima Sundar something different, something what they actually wear in the spiritual world. Of course, they don't wear this kind of dresses with glue gun and glue stick, but whatever we can offer here practically. And then also, remember Shima Sundar, we used to make for Shima Sundar like a pants kind of, shorts, sometimes like a pantaloons. And there was a feeling that kind of, you needed something that looks like a dhoti. So I remember I always felt very insecure because you actually, when you make in flower dress, you never know what is going to come out. You plan one thing, and then when you start to make it, that doesn't work, and this doesn't work, this don't look nice, that don't look nice, you have to change so many things. So I was going around and asking for blessing on Mukunda Prabhu and Aindra Prabhu, and on the pretext of, like, I needed something else, I asked him, do you think we could make some kind of dress that looks like a dhoti? And immediately he told me, make some kind of like a triangle, like we call this tail, like kind of, when you look at the photo, then you see Shima Sundar has kind of like a triangle looking dhoti sticking under, between his legs. So now that was another thing that he suggests us to make, so we still make that kind of piece that together with the pants, and that looks like a dhoti kind of. So that's like that photo of him wearing that Radharani is really reminding me about that. And then another thing about his personality, I noticed that last half a year before he left, he was very different personality. He used to be always very push it through some idea that, he knew that it's right, this is Prabhupada's point or whatever. But last half a year, I noticed he was kind of almost like not taking part in everything that was going on. That was kind of like very strange for me, but of course I could never figure out why. And remember the last week of his life is when he comes for dressing on Saturday and Sunday, he would also do the kirtan. And then during the class, he would usually stand in front of Radha Shima Sundar and chant. And sometimes he would make some comments about the garlands or sometimes he would say something to me. And then I remember I asked him why he looks so sleepy. And he said that he was not sleeping last few nights. And I say, why? And he said he had to clean the bathroom, Brahmachari ashram. Nobody mentioned that, but it was one of his activities to clean the bathroom in Brahmachari ashram where he stayed. And then another thing, what he was doing in the night, he was making this from cow dung and some very complicated kind of a bas-relief that is still there. It's a desire tree, and whoever the Brahmachari and Prabhuji, they can go that part of Brahmachari ashram and see. That's something he used to do in the night, he was working on night, and I remember he said, I have to finish. I could never think for what the time limits for him was to finish. So, and then remember, yeah. Okay, so I just remember these little things that different than I say. So Hare Krishna, on this day I just want to ask for his blessing for chanting the holy name, because this is something he gives to everybody, but somehow I was not connected in that way. But today I'm begging for his mercy that I can increase my chanting and my attachment to the holy name, and at least a drop of his attachment. Thank you.
मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So we have time constraint, and I made a lot of notes of my memories with Sripad Aindra Prabhu, but I'll go with very, very particular things. So the first time when I heard Sripad Aindra Prabhu, and later I read this verse, so that really connected. Aiche prema, aiche nritya, aiche hari dhwani, kaha nahi dekhi, aiche kaha nahi suni. So this kind of love for Srimati Radharani and Shyam Sundar, and Aiche Nritya, the way devotees were dancing in his kirtan, that was actually Boat Festival in 1998. So the devotee was singing prior to him, and suddenly Aindra Prabhu entered with the Peti harmonium, the box harmonium, the smaller one, not the Harinam harmonium. And he started singing, and there were hardly like 30-40 devotees in the temple before he started the kirtan. And as soon as he started the kirtan, the temple hall filled with the kirtan. The devotees. They were dancing, and it was a very, very different experience. Aishe Hari Dhwani. So that kind of Hari Dhwani, that kind of Harinam Sankirtan, I got associated with ISKCON in 97, and the time lapse what I had before meeting Aindra Prabhu, I never heard such kind of kirtan what Aindra Prabhu used to sing. So that was my first kirtan experience with Sripad Aindra Prabhu, and by Govinda Prabhu's mercy, he took me to his room for the first time, and he got me introduced that he's one of your fans. So Aindra Prabhu looked at me because he was reading something. He has his spectacles on here, on his half of the nose, and he looked at me like this, and he said, "Yeah, I have seen him." That was like a big thing that Aindra Prabhu has seen me. And that time I used to preach to the ISKCON youth, young boys. So once I brought all those young boys to Vrindavan and directly to Aindra Prabhu's kirtan. They were hardly like few months old devotees. They were not even chanting many rounds or whatsoever. And then I took permission of Aindra Prabhu, and I requested him that, "Prabhuji, can I bring all of them to your room?" And the Prabhu said, "Yeah, but only after I chant my Gayatri." So that used to be like something like after 7:30, quarter to 8. So we all reached, and that time, like Gopal Prabhu was mentioning, for many years devotees requested and pushed him for air conditioner. He didn't have the air conditioner, so there was small plastic body cooler that time. And that was making a lot of noise. So whatever Aindra Prabhu was speaking, so the devotees who were sitting in behind, they were not able to hear that, and they were not able to connect. So I do remember the devotee who was sitting right in front, Aindra Prabhu asked, "So what is your identity?" And the devotee was very new, and he didn't know how to answer that, and he said, "Well, Prabhu, I am a devotee of Lord Krishna." Then Aindra Prabhu, he was just chanting, he just put his bead bag aside, he said, "Then I must surrender my life unto you, because for so many years I'm chanting and doing so many services, still I'm not even being able to become a devotee." And the devotee was like perplexed and confused what to do. So that's what Aindra Prabhu was. And the devotees who could not hear him, they actually went outside, because they could not make a connection with him. But that actually made Aindra Prabhu, lost the connection. What he was speaking, so he discontinued. He said, "Call those devotees." So as soon as they entered, "Yes, ministers, where were you?" So they said, "I'm sorry, we could not hear." So in whatever their broken English. So then he called all of them in front. So what point I'm trying to make is that he was very, very sensitive also. It's not that he was just always blasting, and he was very pakani sadhana, so he was not having any personal connection. He always had personal connection, be it a younger boy or a mid devotee or an aged devotee. So he had connection with all of them. So with personal thing, I do remember once he was really blasting me. Actually, what happened, there was a Grihastha devotee from Mumbai. So he was sitting, and Aindra Prabhu was discussing some philosophy, and he was making some points. I think he was already very much, in a fired up mood. And I entered. Then he said, "Another householder, fallen devotee has come to waste my time and energy." I was like, should I stay? Should I go? Should I what? Then another devotee said, "Come." So then I sneaked in and I just sat. And suddenly the whole attention shifted to me instead of the devotee. And he started talking to me, and a grihastha is supposed to be like a Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he's supposed to do this, that, and he was looking right into my eye, and I was just not in this body, but still in the body, and I was just trying to focus what Prabhuji is saying, and I was actually shivering. Aindra Prabhu was really heavy. When he used to be heavy, he used to be, heavier than a mountain. That's what guru means actually, technically in Sanskrit. So he was really heavy, and after chastising for so long, I was almost about to burst into my tears. That Prabhuji just chastising it, was like so morose. And then suddenly he looked at the time, what do you call, time clock or whatever. So he said, oh, it's my kirtan time. So then when he stepped outside, so like Maharaj was mentioning that you need to cross his room. So just right in front of Radha Govind Maharaj and Radha Raman Maharaj's room, he stopped for a few seconds, he turned to me and he said, that's the personal thing. And he said, if I will not say these things to you, tell me who will say these things to you. And I was like completely, I could not walk even a single step after that. I actually just bursted into tears, I cried a lot, and then Prabhuji then went into Kirtan, then I joined him again. And then when I sat in Kirtan, he said, he just winked at me. So, okay. So that was a relief. And just his love for Nitai Shachi Sutta, there was a discussion going on about the September 11 attack on the Twin Towers. Whosoever was coming in the room, they were talking about that. Whosoever. So that happened, this happened, so many casualties, this. So suddenly, look at his consciousness, level of his consciousness. It's turned to all the devotees, like we were 5, 6, 7 devotees. He turned and he said, I don't want my Twin Towers to be hit by any of the terrorists. So he called them his Twin Towers, Nitai Shachi Sutta. And like about the best Mridanga player, the topic came when once I and myself and Vrindavan Das, we both were in the room, and Aindra Prabhu made this comment because Gopal Prabhu is sitting, so I just wanted to make this point. He said, a Kirtaniya who has Vrindavan and Gopal has his Mridanga player is the most opulent Kirtaniya on the planet. So because Gopal, so then he explained, the Gopal has a lot of energy. He can just go on and on and on. And Vrindavan has his classic style, variations. So the combination of both gives the opulence to the Kirtaniya. And just a couple of more things, very, very fast. So once actually a flower vendor came into his room and he gave a bunch of flowers and he asked some amount of money, something like 500 or something. I said, for these many flowers, this much? I asked to the flower wala. And he completely ignored me because he was overcharging. And then I told Aindra Prabhu, he was very particular what he is supposed to do. I thought, Prabhuji, can I give this seva? Then he took the Lakshmi from me, that 500 rupees. So he just first put that 500 note at the lotus feet of Nitai Shachi Sutta. Another 500 rupees note was there, and then he gave it. So that means everything is first supposed to be offered. That reminds me another thing. He used to always have this small Giriraj Shila, then on his locket, very, very small Giriraj Shila. And there was one Kirtan, and in the summers when there was no air conditioner, he used to get a lot of styes, if you remember, Prabhu, the styes and boils. So he asked me to bring a eye drop. And I just ran and came back. It was a festival day. I can't remember. It was Radhashtami or Balram Purnima something. So what he did first, he opened that eye drop. First he gave it to the Giriraj, even the eye drop. And then he took it. And then he looked at me and said, now it's prasad. I said, yes, now it's prasad. But eye drop as a prasad. So that's how he was particular. So coming back to the flower thing. So what he said that, then when the flower guy left, and I said, Prabhuji, he's really very expensive. He's overcharging you. Very, very expensive. Much, much cheaper than going back home, back to Godhead, Oh, yes, that's a point. So that's what Aindra Prabhu is. And today morning I was just last point from my side. Today morning I was listening to one of his question answer session. So somebody made a point and Prabhuji was explaining. So Prabhuji mentioned that actually the Madhurya Ras is so vast and wide that actually Rupa Goswami could not explain entirely in Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So he had to write another book, Ujjwala Neelamani. So to mention about Madhurya Ras, and he just went on and on and on. So that's how I don't know, it's a sentimental word, but I thought that Srila Prabhupada actually wanted to expand the Sankirtan movement so much, but he had a very limited time. He had to do so many things. So that's why Srila Prabhupada sent Aindra Prabhu to all of us to expand, in particular, Shri Harinam Sankirtan. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everything's mostly been said. But when everyone was describing, I was just thinking of this one verse from Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's Shantir Avyarta Kalatwan Virakti Manya Shunyata Asha Bandha Samutkanta Namagane Sadaruchi, the most important one. Asakti Stat Gunakyane and Priti Tad Vasati Stale. And I've been thinking of this verse for a few days, and today it was like really nice because whatever people were saying were just falling into these categories so perfectly. These are 9 symptoms of Bhav. For someone who's doing Bhav Bhakti, Shantir means he's perseverant. He perseveres. You know, to run a 24-hour kirtan, you have to persevere, and he started it yourself. It's kind of our main service, persevering with the 24 hours, day after day. And the next one is Avyarta Kalatwan. He was chanting 116 rounds by the end of it, and doing we're doing the deity worship now upstairs, and it takes 3-4 devotees 5 hours, all of it together. So 5 hours of deity worship, 116 rounds, writing his book, doing the kirtan in the temple room, on Ekadasi doing kirtan for so many hours. So obviously, you cannot waste a second. You have to put in every minute. Virakti, everyone explained so nicely. I mean, he was so detached, completely detached from any kind of sense gratification, eating once a day, eating only after he's offered everything to his deities, after putting his deities to rest, only then he eats. And sometimes that was, at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, every day is Janmashtami for him. He was doing a midnight fast every single day. What's the next one? I said Virakti. Manashunyata, people approached him many times to want him to become guru, their spiritual master, give them diksha, and he always rejected, because he was saying the desire to get this prestige, this is very bad, and I'm too fallen, so I cannot accept myself as anyone's guru. I have to first become a qualified disciple. So no desire to have any amanina, manadena, and kirtaniya sadari, namagane sadaruchi. Prabhuji, Mukundadatta Prabhu was explaining nicely how you chant for hours and hours and hours. So Nam Ruchi was definitely there. Sadaruchi, constantly chanting. And then Asha Bandha, wow, hoping against hope, having such a strong determination, having a strong, it's one of the symptoms of Sharanagati, is that you have firm conviction that Krishna will send his mercy down. He will take me back home, back to Godhead. I just have to stick to the lotus feet of my guru. And you can see how Prabhupada, Aindra Prabhu, he didn't even have so much association with Prabhupada. Prabhupada only said one jai to him, and that was sufficient. That one jai was sufficient for him to just have so much asha bandha. That's it. That's enough. That's enough for me. Lavamatra sadhu sangha. One jai from Prabhupada was enough for him to achieve all perfection. Samutkanta, this is something that was very, very significant in him. A strong, intense desire to achieve your goal. A strong, intense desire to know your relationship with Krishna. I was hearing a memory by Danudar Maharaj, and Danudar Maharaj was saying one day he just came into my room and he just started crying and intensely talking about how he wants to know who he is in the spiritual world. And Maharaj was really taken aback. And Maharaj was saying this was in 93 or something, and ISKCON that time was a very different ISKCON. No one even knew the word Manjari, is how he was saying. Like, no one knew really these things. And Aindra Prabhu was speaking like very intensely. He doesn't even remember what he said, he just remembers the intensity of the mood of what he was saying. And then Maharaj was a bit taken aback, so he kind of told him that, hey, maybe you shouldn't be a sahajya and you should take things slowly. And the next day, it was Aindra Prabhu's Bhagavatam class. And he gave Bhagavatam class on the Vyasasan, but he was staring at Maharaj the whole time, and he was speaking about small-mindedness the whole class. So his Samutkanta was definitely very intense, very intensely desiring to achieve all perfection. Namagane Sadaruchi and Asaktis Tad Gunakyane. He would speak till 2 o'clock in the morning. One devotee told me that he was in Aindra Prabhu's room and they were speaking and speaking and speaking, and then the Mangalarti conch shell blew. So it was Mangalarti. And many times, you can hear some of the recordings are there, where Bhagavad Puran Prabhu is there and he's saying, Prabhuji, you haven't finished your puja. Like, they had to stop him from speaking, so that he could finish his Shalagram Seva and his deity worship. And the last one, which is something that he preached a lot, is Priti Tad Vasati Stale, having very strong attachment to wanting to live in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Out of the 64 angas of bhakti that's described in Nectar of Devotion, there's 3 that's kind of repeated. One is staying in a holy place, one is staying in Mathura, and the other one is staying in Mathura again, and the last one is in Panchanga Bhakti. And Panchanga Bhakti, as we know, is the most important out of all the 64 limbs, and one of them is Mathura Vas. And you can see how even in those things that Gopal Prabhu was reading, how he was repeatedly saying, please live in Vrindavan, please come to Vrindavan, please stay in Vrindavan, at least mentally, if not anything. So, as the devotees were speaking, I was just thinking we had such a wonderful personality. Although I and many devotees, practically now the whole 24-hour Kirtan ashram, none of us have actually met Aindra Prabhu. Maybe there's one devotee that met him, but the rest of all of us have never had any personal association. And it just shows how if you stick to the process, if you just really follow the orders of your spiritual master, and if you just chant Hare Krishna, then you're doing real preaching. There are young devotees coming from all over the world to Vrindavan Dham 11 years after someone has left their body, just because of their efforts in chanting Hare Krishna. And also he was emphasizing this point. He makes a point in his book about how he says, what are we preaching to preach about? Are we preaching to preach about how we can preach so that other people can keep preaching about how we have to preach? What the hell is the point of the whole thing? So he emphasized this point of how if you attain attraction for Krishna, and that is what rag means, no? Rag means attraction. If you're attracted to Krishna, you automatically become attractive. Prabhupada said one time that Krishna is known as Dhira Lalita. It is one type of hero, one type of Krishna. Dhira Lalita. It means he is happy, he's joyful, he's playful. It's one of the qualities of Krishna. And Prabhupada simply says, if you associate with Dhira Lalita Krishna, then you also become happy, joyful, and attractive. So this devotee was a very attractive devotee, and all of us are here, and we're continuing this service. And actually, he more than anything, he showed, because he came from you could say from rags to riches, or the way he dressed, from rags to rags. But he really came from a hippie background with, he was smoking marijuana and he had a pet cat. And from there, he became who he is. He did what he is, and it's such a inspiring story. It's such an inspiring personality. He would always say that if insignificant Aindra Das can do it, then anyone can do it. Obviously, he's not insignificant, but it's just to inspire us. Lord Chaitanya's movement always has devotees that come in a very low-born condition to inspire us, because we're all very low-born and we need some inspiration. And if he can do it, and if he's a devotee, then Krishna has to keep his word. That means anyone can do it. Jai, I'll allow the other devotees to speak. Hare Krishna.
How many people are Indra is actually were close to Indra to his tapes? I would very much make that point. After Indra Prabhu left his body, and because somehow Naza, I was there and I was instrumental to some degree when we were opening his room, I was surprised. Once a sudden I got phone calls from all over the world. People were asking, what happened, what happened, what happened? So we were thinking, Aindra is here and he was doing the 24-hour kirtan, but then he was having his tapes. And everyone, I guess everyone here in his computer, in his phone or something, has Aindra Prabhu's bhajan. So he was very powerful and had spread all over the world, that mood of kirtan and the mood of 24-hour kirtan. So that was very widely spread. I don't want to take too much time, this is a prasadam time. I had one pastime that many people know. Aindra was very particular about his deities and his whole altar setup. And I didn't spend that much time going up there. But one day, at the last day of Kartika, Aindra Prabhu was having that feast. And in order to do something, some decoration on his altar, he had stepped on his altar. And the whole altar had just broken apart in hundreds of pieces. And Radhesham, my good friend Radhesham, he was spent a lot of time with Aindra, and he said now is only one person who can fix this at Sanak Sanatan. So he brought me up there and I got all my marble wala and this and that, and within a couple of hours we had it all back to the mark and everything again. But Aindra wasn't so happy, but he had to let me do. I was like all over his altar, all over his room. I was changing things. And no. I said, no, now it goes my way. We have to quickly finish it. So we were all over his deities and we set up his altar. And so I guess I got some little mercy from that. Jai, Hare Krishna. Indra Prabhu ki Jai.
Vancha Gulptarupesya, Kripasindhubayavacha Patitanam Pavanitavesha. Shripada Aindra Prabhu ki. Actually, I met him first time in 2003 in Vrindavan, right after his Sankirtan. He just took me upstairs and he goes on and on and on about Harinam and continuously. And he was just saying like, just leave all other duties, come to Vrindavan, stay here with him, chant 24 kirtan, and I'll make you like a level of Goswamis. That's what Prabhupada desired. He was explaining so intensely. He was go on and on till like 10. And then another exchange I had in Mayapur at Gopal House, Deen Chaitanya Bhavan, in 2005. He would again and again like insisting, like, now you come Vrindavan, leave everything. Why are you staying in another temple? You have to come, and assist me. And I will take you back to Golok Vrindavan on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. It was like, Aindra Prabhu was like, and I tried because I had another services like a book distribution. And so he was like, oh, so you have to understand what word Prabhupada actually wanted to give, If you study the books, you have to apply. And finally, I made it here in 2008 in the Brahmacharya Ashram. And I met Aindra Prabhu on the middle of the staircase, and he was so happy and hugged me. Oh, you finally came here. And I said, Prabhu, sorry, first I have to complete the Bhakti Shastri. He said, so you're going to get Krishna Prema? What do you think? You're going to get a Krishna Prema from just doing Bhakti Shastri? I said, of course not. So he said, the first duty is to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And so actually I had a very beautiful exchange living in the Brahmacharya Ashram. The secret of Aindra Prabhu advancement. Actually, is last few weeks, every time after 7 o'clock or kirtan, or sometime I was doing 10 to 1 shift in the night, I would go upstairs 1 a.m. just to take rest, and he would just talk me out. Say, what are you going to do? You're going to sleep? No, it's not time for sleep. Let's discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada has given so beautifully. Prabhupada has given me everything. He would go on and go till Mangalarti. You were explaining, like, conch shell would blow, I said, Prabhu, it's Mangalarti. He would catch every day. Me and Damodar has to come, another Prabhu. Every day, like, I like people, like-minded devotees, you never leave Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada has given me everything. The success of this 24 Kirtan is Srila Prabhupada. This is Aindra Prabhu verse to me that Prabhupada books actually. He said, I don't want like anyone of go Radha Kun and here there. So Aindra Prabhu was really like appreciating Srila Prabhupada, and he was like, Prabhupada has given him everything, and he said, I'm going to teach you, it was like 2 a.m., I'm going to teach you the art of like real prema, nama sankirtan, So you dedicate your life here, and then especially told me he loves Gopal Prabhu, Govinda Prabhu, Vrindavan. He mentioned me the names, and he was like very, very like really loving, on this. But actually, in the kirtan, it was really intense. If you will see his bhav, like I go to slap right on my, right cheek. Like I wouldn't play kirtal, and he was expecting to, because everyone has left in the summer, intense summer, and I was the only kirtal player, and I didn't bring the kirtal down. And he was like, what are you doing? I said, where is your kirtals? And I was like, I don't know, it's just broken. Just came in. It's like, oh my God. And then like each after he chanted the mantra, he just looks at me with like nourishing the red eyes. And then he took me after 7 o'clock in the ashram, chastised me. He gave me the chastisement for 2 hours. It was so heavy. And he said, don't take it to your heart because I love you. I'm telling you. And he mentioned that especially to respect all of the senior members of the board, and he was saying like, if you really follow like my instruction, Srila Prabhupada movement and the Harinam Sankirtan to your heart, and I promise you I will come even if I will leave. That was my night conversations with him. He said, even if I leave this world, I will always come to take you. I'll take my old devotees, whoever will assist me in this service. That was, he confirmed, I affirm. And then even after he left, this 11 years he's been coming to my dreams and coming, and then somehow I purchased a property far from the temple, and I couldn't come 6 years. I'm sorry, Aindra Prabhu, I'm like the most stupid, dull-like fellow, And I couldn't come for the service, and he kept coming. Why are you not coming for the ship? Why are you not coming for the ship? He was every night angry. And I'm telling my wife, I'm wasting my time here in this, like deep well of material world. What is the use of this land? I want to go back to, I want to take one person. I want to just go back, to Aindra Prabhu. And then somehow I didn't follow Aindra Prabhu's dream. He still kept coming. No, you have to come for the ship. I'm waiting for my friends, like-minded devotees, you have to be there in the service. I didn't care for any of those dreams. Then finally he just like really got upset, mad at me. And then he started coming to my wife, telling, lock the gate, lock the house, just come to the temple, come to the Sankirtan. So he loves everyone. Whoever was going to assist him now or in the future, definitely Aindra Prabhu going to come back and take everyone on the behalf of Srila Prabhupada. He's so much, anyway, there were a lot of misconceptions that Aindra Prabhu misleading the devotees to different places like Babaji's. But actually Aindra told me that he hates any of the Babaji's book shouldn't come to the ashram. He said, I don't want to pollute this, Prabhupada movement. He said, you should always stick to Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad. It's like that. So there were a lot of things. There was actually big offering, a lot of exchanges. One last thing is like one of his god brother asked Aindra Prabhu that if he could lead kirtan to Krishna Balaram Mandir. Aindra Prabhu said, of course you can lead kirtan, but you have to lead with the transcendental passion. So we all have to, and I'm today on this most auspicious occasion praying at the lotus feet of Aindra Prabhu on the behalf of all Sankirtan Mandali. Please take us back at the, it's the service of Harinam Sankirtan, and we want to be reunited with you again and again and again, and this fallen only belongs to you, life after life, I have no meaning. All this Chirasika's entire Braj Mandal has no meaning without the service of Aindra Prabhu and the 24-hour Kirtan. They have no meaning of this. And Aindra Prabhu personally explained me that there is a Rasa Mandal here, 24 Kirtan Rasa Mandal. So you shouldn't go anywhere outside. And even he forbidden me to go on the Ekadashi Parikrama too. And he said, no, don't go for Parikrama. Don't make extra endeavor. Just stay in the Prabhupada Samadhi, chant 64 rounds for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. And he forbid me even to go any other duties. He was just like, you just stay here and chant for the Prabhupada pleasure 64 rounds. He said Prabhupada gave him everything, and that in same way you follow me with your simple heart. That's it. Shripad Aindra Prabhu ki.
Well, I didn't have much association with Aindra Prabhu. Once, one senior devotee Mataji asked me to buy a harmonium from Aindra Prabhu. So I approached him. I was very shy, and I thought that I heard that he's very fiery and that he's very renounced, and I felt uncomfortable. But he was so nice to me. He was very, very sweet, and he actually stayed and talked to me. He felt kind of comfortable, and so every day we would have this exchange. Something didn't work in harmonium, and he didn't just say that, oh, this thing doesn't work, and just go, but he would spend time and giving his association. One thing is that about dreams, there was a period of time when me and Akinchana, we would cook for a 24-hour kirtan for a period of 6 months, non-stop, not even a break for a weekend. And then we like to cook little spicy. And so my thinking is that Krishna likes his food, so it shouldn't be plain. So we were cooking little spicy, and then there was one Russian devotee in the ashram, and he would complain that it's too spicy for him. And we would be like, he's Russian. We're cooking for deities, and he's one devotee complaining. So one day, one day I have a dream that it's a festival, and temple is empty, and it just soon temple will open, and it's all decorated and beautiful. And I sneaked into the door, Radhashyama Sundar's door, and Aindra Prabhu comes like that from the altar, and he gives me a bottle, and he's like, fill it up with pure water. And I'm like, okay. So I go, and there is a tap of water, and I fill it up, and it's so pure, so fresh, and then poop, chili comes. Poop, chili comes. And I'm like, it's spoiled. So I pour it out. I find another tap, and I fill it up with water, and again chili comes. So I couldn't find just water. It would always come with chilies. So I woke up and said, Akinchana, we should cook less spicy. And so we cooked less spicy. And one more thing I had. Whenever I would be outside of Vrindavan, I would get dreams of just Vrindavan dust, just dust, and I would feel so much separation. So I had a dream that a sandstorm raised up, and it was so much sand, everything would be lifted from the ground. And I was at Keshigat, and I'm like, I just need to get to the temple, I just need to get to the temple. So I'm laying on the wind, and this dust is all over the place. And I come again from Radhashyama Sundar's altar, and it's complete peace in the temple. And it's just deities, and Aindra Prabhu and few devotees with him. And so he calls me, and he's like, how do you chant your rounds? How do you chant japa? And he's like, show me. And I'm so shy to chant in front of Aindra Prabhu. And I take my japa and I'm like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And he rips japa from me. And he's like, you don't understand. And this crazy look. These are Ashtasakis, these first beads. So he wanted everything with power. One thing what I really appreciate about Aindra Prabhu, he managed to bind the community around the temple. Like when we come to Mayapur, so many things are happening here and there. And here we don't have so many family programs, namahatas. He managed to join the whole community around the kirtan. And it's like in our program that like 6 o'clock, 6:30 at least, everyone should be there. And it stayed and it's still like that. So he managed to get all the devotees around them chanting the holy names. Anyway, as I said, I didn't have much. Once he saved me, actually, I remember. I had something very bad happened to me. Someone was really not nice to me. And I got completely empty. The first time I lost even faith in Krishna, lost everything. And because Krishna is a super soul, next day I was sent to Vrindavan because I was the only one with visa. And Aindra Prabhu really recovered me because every day I would come for his kirtan. Even if I needed to go to Delhi, I would make sure to come back exactly for his slot. And also I had an experience in Mayapur. I usually needed to serve Guru Maharaj. One sec, just finished that. I started. Usually I needed to serve my Guru Maharaj, but in Mayapur somehow they take care of him in the way that no need to do anything. So I'm using the time, I will spend all the time at Aindra Prabhu's kirtans. So when we were coming back from Mayapur, I remember we were on a plane, in a taxi, and I look around, and the only thing in my mind is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare, non-stop. I'm talking to people, someone talks to me, and I was like, Aindra Prabhu, who are you? What did you do to me? It's like, I cannot even get out Harinam of my head. He was very, very powerful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindubhyasya patitanam pavanebhyo Vishnu. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says he reasons ill who says that Vaishnavas die when they're always living in sound. And while they're living, they preach, they try their best to spread the holy name around the world. So I believe Sripad Aindra Prabhu is the best example for this statement. Because even though a lot of us, as Pavanita said earlier, most of our boys that are here in the ashram, we never got personal association with Aindra Prabhu. But he's changed our lives, and if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here in Vrindavan. So many of us wouldn't be doing kirtan right now. So even though he's not physically present here, we can always feel his presence in the temple. We can feel his presence in the ashram, in his room, and just because just by listening to his kirtans and listening to his lectures, and by listening to how he led a life fully dedicated to Srila Prabhupada's movement, our lives are changed. So I just pray that one day I may follow in his footsteps in the way that he served Srila Prabhupada and serve him as well. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I was like most of the ashram members, I wasn't very fortunate at having personal association with Aindra Prabhu, but growing up in my childhood, it was very common to hear his kirtans everywhere you go. If you go in the kitchen, if you're in a car ride with your family or wherever you go, Aindra Prabhu's kirtans playing. So I always remember, when I would drive in the car with my father, he would have Vraj Vilas playing, and I would bring my dolak and I would jam out playing Vrindavan to the track, and it was very a very strong impression, And later on, like as I started getting older, Gopal Prabhu and a Kinshana Prabhu and a group of the Kirtaniers here from Sri Vrindavan Dham, they made an initiative to start 24-hour Kirtan festivals around the world. So where I was born and raised in New Vrindavan in the United States, they had brought a festival there. And the first festival, I believe, was in 2007. So I remember a 7-year-old boy and seeing many devotees, and mass congregation and everyone chanting and dancing, and I was completely mind blown. Like, wow, what is this? Like, this is special, what is this coming from? I'm only used to, here on festival days, sometimes people gather, sometimes they don't gather, little bit of kirtan, then finish, But 24 hours, and growing up, I was always made it a program that, all right, when 24-hour kirtan comes, I'll stay up all night and do kirtan, So, I was very eager to meet Aindra Prabhu and, see Vrindavan Dham, but, I had my school and I wasn't able to come. I was a young boy. So, one day the opportunity came to come to Sri Vrindavan Dham, and as soon as I entered Vrindavan, I said, I need to see where Aindra Prabhu does kirtan. I want to see where he does his kirtan. I want to see the 24-hour kirtan. And as soon as I entered the temple, I was like, wow, what is this? What is going on here? And then I instantly decided, okay, I have to come here and I have to spend my life here and serve this mission. So thankful to Aindra Prabhu and all the devotees here who are his associates for guiding us and giving us a path that we can make it back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.